Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stacey Storino. Normally, I'm from Joe's Dairy Bar and Grill, but right now I'm on my own self-named channel, Stacey Storino, and this is the place for entrepreneur moms to come to learn about everything that they need to be successful, balancing work and school while being on the bleeding edge of technology. So I've got a really quick video that I want to do tonight, and it's about a success secret that I think a lot of moms definitely are too quick to not even think of this as a secret. And then they wonder why they can't get more done efficiently, effectively, while balancing all the house, spouse, kid worship of it all. And I'm going to let you know what that secret is, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. And then this is going to be a quick one. And don't forget, I'm on day 9, I believe, of my 365-day live stream orbit. So there's all sorts of freebie goodness that will be on this channel all throughout the year. Now, super quickly, make sure that you hit that big red subscribe button, click the bell notification, make sure you select all notifications. This way you get the best chance of getting a live notification, getting a notification when I go live. My big success secret for people who are trying to balance so much on their plates is sleep. I think that a lot of entrepreneur moms, even entrepreneur dads, but a lot of entrepreneurs don't get enough quantity sleep and enough quality sleep. So what do I mean by this? The National Sleep Foundation for decades now has had the same finding over and over again, that the average adult needs to have between 7 to 8 hours of sleep in a 24-hour cycle. Hey, sleep, what is that? It says Transformational Healing by Donna. Oh my goodness, you are right, girl. I know, right? It's true. It's really something that we all kind of know common sense wise is very important. And yet, nonetheless, are you getting what the National Sleep Foundation or the NSF recommends that an average adult have within a 24-hour cycle? Because a lot of us do shift work, and a lot of us are balancing a lot of things at all hours of the day. So in a 24-hour cycle or day, you should be getting between 7 to 8 hours of sleep in terms of quantity. For most people to get more than that, if it were somehow possible, right? For most people to get more than that, you really start to get into what they call the law of diminishing returns. More sleep, it's kind of almost impossible really to catch up on sleep when you miss it. So more than that's no good, but anything less than, it is a bright line, but still it's a bit of a rough bright line. But anything less than 7 hours of sleep in a 24-hour cycle, and you are at a total deficit that affects everything you do within the rest of that 24-hour cycle. Donna says, my firefighter husband says sleep is for wimps, healthy, well-rested wimps, but wimps nonetheless. Hey, Jasmine Pena. Hi, Stacey. I finally got you live on YouTube. Oh my goodness. Jasmine Pena. Hello. I'm so glad that you're here, Jasmine. This is the tough thing. The way we're living our 24/7 lives right now, I hear what you're saying and what your firefighter husband is saying. Because we've gotten to a point where it's like we'll sleep when we're dead. I think there's a Warren Zevon song out there, really showing my age. I think that's the artist, and it's like I'll sleep when I'm dead. The problem is you're going to get to dead a whole lot faster. So when I talk about the power hour concept, which I did on day 1, I'm now on day 9 of my 365-day live stream orbit. If you've missed any of it, go on back. If you haven't, click the bell notification, but you subscribe, make sure you do that to get all the notifications. But this is the deal. It's not just a matter of getting, well, we all tell ourselves that we're wimps if we get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I mean, that seems so luxurious. But honestly, it's very necessary because studies have shown when you don't get the right quantity and quality sleep during that 7 to 8 hours of quantity sleep within a 24-hour cycle, and the firefighter husband probably does work shifts, right? So he can't look at it as day and night. He's got to look at it when he can rotate around to get his sleep in during a 24-hour cycle. And a lot of entrepreneur moms and dads, it's a very similar thing with all the stuff that we balance. Run really quick. So if you weren't real clear that you needed the 7 to 8 hours of sleep within a 24-hour cycle, you do. 24 hours at a pop, he's on that shift. Yep. And then 3 days off. So he's on and then he's off. That's the nature of shift work too. Firefighters and cops and other emergency services personnel embody that sort of thing. And so it's really hard for them because, I do have, and this is actually good that this went off when it went off, because this is living proof. I have a wake up in bed. Well, even though I work from home most of the time, I almost never have to leave my home for work-related reasons. For 23 plus years, though, I had a 3 to 3.5 hour round trip commute. So I gave it the office literally and figuratively when it came to being on the road, when it came to a commute. I don't feel bad that I work from home now, but I still have an alarm that goes off on my phone, getting me up at the same time 7 days a week. Yes, even on the weekend. And then what you just might have heard was the chime, the bedtime reminder on my iPhone going off. And it tells me when my wake up alarm is set for, and it'll tell me if I go to bed now or not too long from now, exactly how much time I'm going to have in terms of sleep. So it's a good reminder to myself that I can't really go, I can't really stay up too much longer. I really have to cut things off. Now, it's real hard when you're balancing house, spouse, kid, worship, pets, plants, whatever kind of, bootstrapping hustle you have, plus whatever type of job you may have launching and getting off the ground. And the more kids you have and the more school buses or homeschooling, if you're doing that, it just gets to be so much. It's so hard for us to get that 7 hours of sleep. And I don't want to give you any simple, smarmy answers either, because then that's not respecting the journey that you're going through. The word easy doesn't come out when I say this. The word not really has to be tacked in front of the word easy. But there are ways that you can back end yourself into at least getting 7 hours worth of sleep. And then we can talk about how to get good quality sleep, because you can get the right quantity and that's cool. But if it's not really good quality, well, that's going to hurt you. That's going to hurt you too. So I do want to keep this one short. So I will say the secret sauce here is to make sure that you're not at a sleep deficit, because then you're cranky, your brain is cloudy, you're unfocused. You may be able to crank out all the work that you need to and all the things that you're responsible for, but it's going to be more of a struggle. You're likely going to be less effective. You're likely to get sick and run down way faster. So you're kind of cutting your nose off to spite your face. So one thing that I did talk about in the first video in the 365-day live stream orbit, which can be found, the replay is on this channel, is about the power hour. Now that's useful in and of itself. And the power hour is a, concentrated time that you can spend on your business. Even if you can't do it all in 60 minutes, you could do it in 2 30-minute hemispheres, 4 15-minute quads. We go into that and what kind of work might be best to do during a power hour. You might have to get more fine grain than you'd normally like to kind of see in a 24-hour cycle where you are, where your husband is. And for Donna, that's not going to be cookie cutter the same 7 days a week or 5 weekdays a week. It's definitely not easy, but you have to figure out who's where your kids are, when the buses are and everything. And then once you drain all of that out, you see what extra time you have for all the other things, personal and professional, you have to do. And you might have to plot more power hours, be more intentional, be more fine grained about what you're doing when. And it might be a whole lot more than you'd like, especially if you like to be a wild child and kind of do whatever, whenever. It's going to really suck to have to really dial in and get that ratcheted down in terms of what you're doing when. I actually have an accountability journal that I keep that does help me plot through a lot of what it is that I do. I'll talk about that separately on another one of my 365-day live streams. My live stream orbit to this channel. But sleep is definitely a big one. You've got to get it. So if other things and situations have to hit the cutting room floor for you to at least get in your 7 hours, then that's what has to happen. And so, again, not easy advice to give. Transformational Healing by Donna says, our power hours are to take a break. We are working almost all of the time, running 3 shops and homeschooling. And I homeschooled for 2 years and only 1 kid at that. So I totally respect where you are. And maybe you use the power hour in reverse. So, you need more than an hour of sleep, but you might have to just plot in the time to get the sleep to rest. Because if you don't, you're going to be super sick and then passing it around to the kids, or the kids are going to be sick and you're not going to be able to take care of them and fight it off. So again, this whole we'll sleep when we're dead thing, everybody wants to be on their cell phone until the wee hours of the morning. We actually have a digital curfew in our house. I'm hoping that this helps you guys out, this tip. We do have a digital curfew in our house for everyone, including the adults. So when it's our son's bedtime at 8:30, on school nights, he can be up a little bit later Friday into Saturday and a tad bit later Saturday into Sunday. But then Sunday, he's got to go back to his regular set bedtime. So at 8:30, my chime will go off, usually, and it will warn me that I've got to go and cut the internet off. That's literally what we have to do to kick in the digital curfew, because then it takes kids and adults about an hour's worth of time to unwind from all of the devices and the things. Yes, that includes laptops and desktops, and not just video games that might be titillating the kids or the spouses or you, because some people do like to do that. They're adults. This is how they have their fun, right? But the problem is, are you building in a whole hour for yourselves and your kids to wind down from screen time, from this screen time, from TV screen time? Are you doing that? Because you could shove them in bed and turn out the lights in 10, 20 minutes, but they're not either going to get to sleep, or they're going to have crappy quality sleep because they're still amped up. Same thing for you. So we all observe an 8:30 usually digital curfew time. And I literally, we have an app that we can just, and there's a device that's attached to where like our modem and stuff is, and it just knocks it out. It turns it off. So this way there's no arguing. There's no 5 more minutes or anything. If our son's stubborn playing his video games, if I'm like sitting there on my laptop, my husband will even do it. If he sees that it's still off, he'll turn it off. Even if he's still at work and he's on his way home, he will check. Oh, it's still on. Stacey didn't do it. That digital curfew then signifies we need to spend the next hour, baths, showers, getting everything together for the next school day, the next work day, but we're kind of starting to power down. The devices aren't in the mix. Nobody's having anything other than like water before they go to bed. Because if you're drinking any sort of stimulant, forget that. Even green tea, forget that. All that should be cut off. Within about an hour, depending upon your metabolism, it could be up to 2 hours. That's not the right time for you to go for a walk or go fit in exercise. I have coached people in the past that were exercising at like 8, 9 o'clock at night and then wondered why they had crappy quality sleep. Your body never had a chance to slowly wind down with your own bedtime routine. You know how kids, especially when they're younger, have bedtime routines? You need that bedtime routine. So, you might be used to going to bed while you're streaming something and you just pass out, but you're actually not getting good quality sleep that way either. So, I'm not being naive when I say 7 hours of sleep within a 24-hour cycle. You need to do it. You need to do it. Your body is literally telling you that they need you to do it. So maybe we're not jet setting so much after work and school. Maybe we need to stay home, and maybe we need to chill a little more. And definitely we need a curfew, a digital curfew. And actually, one other tip: we put the modem in my office, and it's a bedroom, right? Under $10 at the hardware store, and under 10 minutes with like a Phillips screwdriver, we were able to swap out the regular, interior door like handle doorknob that doesn't have a lock on it, and we put in one that does have a lock on it. And I go to sleep with the with the key to it in my pillowcase, so my son can't steal it and turn everything back on. Because kids can, and adults too, can get pretty addicted to having the screens and the titillation and everything, and you're not going to get enough sleep. You're not going to get good quality sleep. And if you don't have it, you're trying to build the house of a busy business life on a cracked foundation, or God help you, a non-existent foundation. So this is not smarmy or easy advice that I'm giving, but maybe some people, some entertainment, some things have to hit the cutting room floor. And maybe you need the digital curfew, and maybe you need the bedtime reminders. So I'll tell you, timers are objective and we are not. What feels like 15 to 20 minutes more to us could be a half an hour, and you could be hemorrhaging out time that way too. So my secret trick to anybody who feels like they just can't pull it all together mentally. They know they have all these things to do, but they get really tired, really worn out, really overwhelmed. My first big piece of advice to them is to really look at all the hours of a given day and make sure they're getting at least 7 hours of sleep in there. And then you can plot, the power hour. Of course, this is after you take everybody's schedules into account, because if you've got to homeschool the kids, you got to do it. If you got to get them on and off buses because they go to public school, you got to do it. You have a, let's say, husband, and he's got to get out the door by a certain period of time. He's definitely not coming back home. You need to figure and factor who, what, where, when, why, and how, and then reverse engineer. Should you be going to bed earlier because you need to wake up earlier? Whatever. You can then move around the blocks of your time to make sure you get in your 7, and to make sure that you have at least a power hour a day towards the business that you really want to do. If you're bootstrapping with one thing to finance another thing, you don't need a power hour for that. You need a power hour for the business you want to be your full-time deal. So that's definitely my thoughts right now. All right, so tomorrow, make sure you tune in. I am definitely going to be talking about a social media trick that I love, that I think just not a lot of people know about, that's so super important. You may never post content the same way again. You're welcome, Transformational Healing by Donna. And Jasmine, I'm so happy and honored that you came and you were here live today. That's awesome. I will make sure that you guys hit that big red subscribe button. Make sure you click that bell notification. And tomorrow will be, I believe, day 10 in my 365-day live stream orbit to this channel. Talk to you guys later. Good night.